Universal's The Last Voyage of the Demeter bombed at the box office after it opened on August 11th. So why did the Dracula on a boat flick flop so hard? Demeter netted $6.5 million on its first weekend in theaters, making back just a fraction of its $45 million budget. Perhaps the most immediate culprit behind its lackluster financial performance is its lukewarm reception from critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film sits at 51% from professional reviewers and a still unimpressive 74% from audiences at large as of the making of this video. In his review for Variety, for example, Owen Gleiberman wrote, "The Last Voyage of the Demeter is too explicit, too dotty, yet rapid-fire, too much like other horror films." Critics weren't wholly unkind, however. RogerEbert.com reviewer Peter Sobczynski awarded it 3.5 stars out of a possible 4, writing, "It's a smart, well-made, and sometimes downright creepy take on the tale that both horror buffs and regular moviegoers can appreciate in equal measure."
We call him Dracula.
But bad reviews alone aren't typically enough to keep viewers away from an otherwise interesting release, suggesting that at least a couple other factors beyond just its critical reception played a part in the film's subpar box office haul. Before taking into account how reviewers received Demeter, a multitude of factors regarding its promotion and release made its success an uphill battle prior even to its theatrical premiere. Chief among what might be considered marketing failures is the fact that the film's title doesn't accurately reflect its biggest selling point. The Last Voyage of the Demeter is technically a classic Dracula movie, adapting a chapter from Bram Stoker's genre-defining vampire novel. Its title, however, simply evokes a journey at sea, leaving casual viewers unaware that it's actually a Dracula story. Several international markets feature distinctive names for the film that take advantage of the name recognition that Dracula has. For example, in Australia, the film is titled Dracula Voyage of the Demeter, a far more inviting name that paints a clearer picture as to what audiences can expect. Universal also decided to release a horror movie in August, a couple months before spooky movie season officially kicks off near the start of October. Not only is this timing not ideal, but it falls squarely in the midst of Barbenheimer mania, during which theatergoers are still more likely to see either of those two box office giants than an ill-timed horror movie that bewilderingly buries the fact that it's about fiction's most iconic vampire.
So cool.
While it's difficult to deny the competition Demeter faced from both Barbie and Oppenheimer, it should be noted that the Universal Pictures flick wasn't the only horror film competing for the attention of audience members at the multiplex. During the Dracula film's opening weekend, audiences had multiple options to choose from. During its debut weekend, Demeter faced competition from both Disney's Haunted Mansion and A24's Talk to Me. They made $5.7 million and $5.1 million, respectively, almost in line with the Dracula film's $6.5 million debut. When it came to that weekend's horror offerings, the trio definitely cannibalized one another. While Demeter technically took the higher spot of the three, it's clear the crowded horror landscape robbed the Dracula film of a potential $10 million debut. Haunted Mansion appeals to both families and teenagers thanks in part to its PG-13 rating. Seeing as Demeter boasts an R rating, a portion of prospective viewers likely went with Disney's Haunted offering. The R-rated Talk to Me, meanwhile, is thriving thanks to positive word of mouth and reviews. Demeter was the new film in cinemas, but it was arguably the least interesting, at least from the audience's perspective. Paying cinema-goers gave the Dracula film a B- cinema score, signaling mixed to negative word of mouth. Haunted Mansion and Talk to Me, meanwhile, boast B+ cinema scores. Perhaps Demeter would have shined earlier in the summer when horror films were more scarce. Even if international audiences were interested in seeing The Last Voyage of the Demeter, key markets weren't given the opportunity to do so. The film's release in the United Kingdom has been delayed indefinitely thanks to E1 shutting down operations in the country. With E1 now sold to Lionsgate, Demeter has lost a distributor in the UK.
May God have mercy on us all.
Only time will tell if the Universal project will receive a theatrical release in the UK. Seeing as how Demeter features a largely Irish cast and with the majority of the story dependent on UK locations, it must be difficult for Universal Pictures to bid farewell to such a key territory. Other international markets haven't received the film as of yet. Slash Film reports that the flick is slated to debut in Spain and India, though no official release dates have been given. With the film bombing stateside, it remains to be seen if Universal Pictures will move forward with international releases or cut their losses. A few months before Demeter premiered in theaters, Universal's previous vampire movie Renfield also bombed. This was sort of a canary in the coal mine, foretelling its successor's lack of box office success. Renfield stars Nicholas Hoult as R.M. Renfield, a character straight out of Bram Stoker's Dracula novel. Similarities to its literary source material pretty much start and stop there, however, given that Renfield is a quirky comedy set in the present day. Audiences were ultimately uninterested in this twist on the classic Dracula formula, leaving its total box office haul short of even half its budget. That Demeter is on track to fare worse is hardly surprising then, given how Renfield demonstrated that its overarching formula isn't something most theatergoers want to see. And whereas Renfield stars big names like Holt, Awkwafina, and Nicolas Cage, Demeter is absent a marquee star to make up for its core concept failing to draw viewers. This phenomenon, in fact, extends past just vampire movies. Both Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, and the 2018 Robin Hood film, while not quite on the same level, failed to make back their budgets as well, further indicating that audiences don't care about contemporary spins on classic material as much as studios seem to think.